So in case of enums, how will it check for like all the values are being put in the cases?
So that's what, if all the values are not in the case, then the best practice is to use the default. That time, for example, now I'm just doing my logic only for January, February. Then, but in the enum I'm passing the March or that month. Then it's better to have a default method.
So in case we skip default, there will be some compile time.
That I need to check. But here it's a running code only I copied and I pasted here. So here the default is not there and there was no compilation. So default is not mandatory, but to handle your code you need. Sir? Yeah, from the default. Yeah, you can read. Yeah, you can read. So if you are assigning to a local variable, you can put a return statement because that return type will be inferred in your return statement in the method signature. So yeah, that's possible. If you return string, then instead of that method, if you are here we mention the void. Instead of void, you just put the int. Yeah, you have to put the type in the method signature, then it will infer the type of the return statement. Switch also. You can just then use the return and you just say the void into it, then it will return it. Yes, like any other method calling, you can directly return the method call also, right, from the calling method. Yes.
Without storing in variable, we can.
Yes, yeah, any like any other method calling. So yeah. So how many are you frustrated by with writing a SQL query in a string that by formatting manually with the slash everything? So to get rid of this, in the Java 15 we have a new syntax that is 3 double quotes. For any string declaration we just use a one single double quote, but here you just have to start with the 3 double quotes 3 times and then you can write a text flow. So how it will be inferred is you can see this example. Here if you want to just write a formatted JSON value, then you have to manually put all the characters and you have to put the line breaks and you have to format it for each line. But with the string text blocks, you can just start with the 3 double quotes character and you can write anything before closing it and you can format it in the way you like. This is a very helpful feature was introduced in the Java 15 and it is very helpful in writing your XML strings and SQL strings and everything. Text blocks. Sorry? Yes. So here in the text block, whatever the way you formatted here, the same way it will be printed. Okay. So it will be printed in the same way, however you are formatting. In the earlier, before this text box, so you are formatting by your own. This also you are formatting because you want to print it in this manner, like you want to print it in each line, so each particular key and value pair. But you have to manually do that formatting. But here the text box, whatever there in whatever format you have, if you have the line breaks, extra line breaks also, it will print in the same way. So it will infer the line breaks. So how many of you know record classes or anybody using? So I think everyone is frustrated with defined Pojo classes. At least with the IDs we use, we do the right click and we do the generates getters and setters. But still we all know that it is not required because whenever we are declaring any DTOs, value objects, anything, we just simply use it for data setters, for data transfer only. But you have to explicitly mention the data setters and everything. With the other frameworks like Jackson and everything, it will be handled. There are other things like I just forgot. We can just annotate with that project number. With that we were handling before. So now directly with the record feature we can handle it. What we do when we use record, when we have this, need to just define the DTOs and records can work only for the immutable data because you shouldn't be using setters. It is just for a data as a data carrier we can use the record. So whenever that kind of scenario is there, we can use the record. So it will reduce all the boilerplate codes. You just need to instead of it as a keyword record, and you just need to define the record, and you just in the parameters you need to mention the variables which you want in for both the classes. Yeah, you can see the example. For records, I have an example in. So here you can see I just need a Yeah. Here you can see before the records, whenever I needed just a simple Pojo class, I had to define the variables, instance variables, and I had to define the constructor, define initializing wire constructor, and I had to define the getters and all the two string equal methods. But with the record class, everything will be inbuilt, the hash code and the constructor and the equals method and the getters. I should. So you can see here. So I just needed a Pojo class for person. So the person declaration, if you see, it's a record, and you just need to mention only the variables, properties required for the person record class. Everything compiler will auto-generate the getters, constructor, and everything. So with this, you can just reduce a lot of boilerplate codes. You no need getters and all those things. This is the usage of records. Next, we have pattern matching for instance of. So like before this feature, if you are using instance of, usually when we use instance of, if you have declared objects by its parent interface or parent type, or if it is just an object class, then if you want to do any operation on that particular object, then you have to cast it. Before casting, to avoid the unsupported casted exception, you want to check the instance whether it's a type of that particular or not. So what we are doing first, we are checking the instance of, then we are doing the casting, and then we are assigning to some local variable, and then we are doing the required operation. With the pattern matching for instance of, what happens, so we use it during the instance of check only, you can create a local variable, and that if the instance of execute evolves to the particular type, then casting will automatically happen and it will assign to the local variable. Otherwise, it will come out from the example. Okay, you see the example. So if you see here, if you are checking the object whether it's instance of string, then after checking if it evolves to true, then we have to do the casting manually. Then we have to use the methods of that particular type.